should wash your hands, you dirty pig.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's video I will be taking a look at the long-awaited releases of the Vortex edition, 15th Doctor and Ruby Sunday. When you take it out of the cardboard it comes in, you're just greeted with a slipcase plastered in Doctor Who logos, and at the tops and bottoms you can see the boxes of the figures. But when you slide them out you get these boxes which kind of look like the Collector Series 12th Doctor ones, but the corners are cut out, which makes it look really nice in my opinion. You get this nice window of the figures themselves, and the style guide's pretty much like the B&M ones with diamond cutouts just saying information about the stuff. So this is the Vortex edition collector figure, and the scale it comes in at the bottom is just the title of the figure, what Doctor's era it comes from. At sides it's again pretty much like B&M stuff, just Doctor Who logos. Then at the back you get a picture of the character and a write-up about them, as well as information about this new Vortex edition range. First, taking a look at the 15th Doctor figure, I am very impressed by it. The likeness of Ncuti Gatwa looks really good. It definitely looks like him from any angle. However, I noticed there's like a circle infused in the plastic, one side of his cheek, which is pretty annoying. That's the problem with these online exclusives. You can't really look out for any quality control issues, so it's kind of a gamble, but it is what it is, hey ho. I believe this is used what they've done for previous releases like the 6th Doctor from last year's B&M wave, the Joe Martin Fugitive Doctor, and the Movellans of not painting the details on top of the plastic, so it just looks a lot cleaner and smoother, which for these new Gen 3 Vortex edition releases, it does look really nice on it. Taking a look underneath the coat, he's in his Church on Ruby Road jacket, but you can't really see the blues underneath, so you kind of have to move the coat out to the side so you can fully see it, which, I don't know, maybe it would have been nicer if the coat was like more open so you could see the blues more. You can kind of see it on one side of the jacket, but not entirely, so maybe I'm just nitpicking here, but would have been nice to fully see the details of it. The brown jacket's been done really nicely, the texture of it looks great, and there's loads of different creases and buttons and straps across it, which looks really nice. They've done a really good job on it, I reckon. And on the hands you get his earrings, but none of the Gallifreyan nail stuff he's got going on, which is understandable, probably would have been a nightmare to do, but heyo. A complaint that I saw raised from the promo images is that his trousers look very vibrant, and they do. They just seem extremely bright. I think they're a bit darker in this general release space stuff of Space Babies, but this one, I don't really know why they're so blue, but who knows what's going on there. But one thing noting is both on the arms and the knees with this new Gen 3 release, there aren't any pins, so that bit of articulation is kind of hidden, so it's more like Star Wars and Marvel figures, so it's kind of just keeping in line with current day action figure lines, which is pretty nice, but sometimes I felt like on the Movellans the articulation of that kind of gets lost. I feel there's not as much movement. I mean, it makes the figure look cleaner, but I think maybe it loses some of it, but I can kind of see why they're doing it, but you win some, you lose some. His boots have been done nicely too. You've got the G boots, whatever he wears, and it's got like the mix of like red, black and whites, the gold, yellowy for the G on it, which I can't really see any paint bleed on. I reckon they've done it nicely. In terms of accessories, of course he had to come with his sonic screwdriver, and for such a small thing, it's pretty well detailed. I mean, it doesn't really have the Gallifreyan text at the back, but that was to be expected. But overall, I'm impressed with how much they've replicated on such a tiny little thing. It fits into his hand quite snugly, and you can get some cool poses out of it. And the most exciting thing about this release is, finally, we have a psychic paper for the figures. I don't know why it's taken so long. He doesn't really use it. I think he only really uses it in the Church on Ruby Road, but this figure is based on that appearance, so why not? I probably won't display him with it. I'll probably just give it to David Tennant or something, but it's very nice to have. It kind of got the lines on it, but There's not much you can really say about the psychic paper, it's just a very nice accessory to have. A more surprising inclusion is the landmine from Boom. I've seen some people say, oh, but this isn't the outfit from Boom. Who actually cares? It's a cool thing to have. It's just like a sticker on top of this like plastic circle, and it's got some just legal copyright information at the bottom. But it is a nightmare for this figure to stand on it. The one improvement I would suggest is maybe like having a peg, like some figures do. Like the tortured ones, I know they want character, but I think some character options figures have like pegs in the feet. Just something to make him stand on it easier. For articulation for the Doctor's figure, his head can do the full 360 degrees twist, and his head can also nod up and down because of the peg it's on. The hips can move from side to side, and he can bend forward and backwards, so you can have him doing a little Naruto run if you so wish. His shoulders are on a ball joint, so you can bring them out, and there's also a 360 at the forearm, there's a bend at the elbow, and there's also 360 at the wrist, but I'd be pretty careful with it. His legs can kick out forward, and there's also a very stiff bend at the knee, but unlike some figures, he can't kick his legs out and do the splits because of this new articulation, and there's also a 360 at his foot. Moving on to the Ruby Sunday figure, I reckon it looks really nice too. I think the likeness of Millie Gibson isn't as good as they've done for Shooties, but you can tell it's supposed to be her. But on mine, there's a black spot on her chin, which is fairly irritating. And they've also done her eyebrow scar, which is pretty good. And then one thing I will say about the hair, it's very yellow. I don't know why they've made her so blonde. I've seen some people repaint it and it looks better. So hopefully in future Ruby releases, it will be revised. But yeah, I don't understand why some of the colours in this set are just so bright when I just don't think they should be. Moving down, she's got her necklace that goes onto the clothes, which, surprisingly, there isn't much paint bleeding that I can see. They've done a pretty good job at quality control on this release for the most part, and you can see the zips on her coat, which have been done really nicely. You got the red jumper with the lines on, and her jacket's got like the fur hood and things, which looks good, and you can see like buckles on the like coat arms and also straps at the bottom. One thing many people have pointed out is that she's got a very long finger. I don't know why they didn't just do like a closed sort of position, because it would just make it look easier and more natural for her to hold the phone accessory she comes with. But it's just a bit weird. Why is it so long? It's like E.T. On her hands, there's the inclusion of a few rings, and there's some nail varnish, which, again, no paint bleeds. They've done pretty well on it. As well as on the tartan skirt, or skirts, I think they're actually called. Which, yeah, the design of it looks pretty nice. There's only a few white specks here and there, but you can only kind of really tell when it's in my light box, so it's not too major. Then the tights have just been done in this matte kind of greyish colour, and again you don't see the pegs like you would in previous releases, and the boots have just been done in a glossy black. She comes with two accessories which are exclusive to this set, being a bag, which I don't remember her wearing at all in either the Christmas special or Space Babies, but whatever, and her phone, which of course was in Space Babies and probably the Christmas special, which I guess is a nice accessory. I don't know what else they would have put with her, but it's cool to have so she can take selfies of her adventures through time and space. For Ruby, her head can nod up and down and turn side to side, but it is slightly hindered by the hair and the coat. The waist can move side to side, and there's a bit of articulation at the hips, can also bend back and forth. It also has ball jointed shoulders so they can go out, and there's a 360 degree articulation at the forearm, as well as a bend at the elbow, and there's a very stiff twist at the wrist, so I wouldn't force it. The legs can kick out, but it is hindered by the skirts, and there's also a twist at the leg, and you can bend the knee. Overall, I think that this release is fantastic, really. For entirely new figures, £40 price, extremely reasonable. If they aren't for you, or you just don't really like these variants, There's always the general retail release, which I think will be in Forbidden Planet and other places. Although, if you order online on Forbidden Planet, they work out more expensive than this Vortex Edition one, so that's a bit strange. But if you're interested in getting a psychic paper, it comes with that. But I think they've done a really good job on these new releases for entirely new molds and things. I can't really fault them for that. Like, I'd say the wait for these figures has definitely been worth the while. So, yeah, I highly recommend you get your hands on this while it's still available. So, on that note, thank you very much for watching. Dislike the video if you didn't like it, and hopefully, I will have left such an amazing impression that you'll come back for more. Toodle pip.